New to Raid, what you do right after pulling a bunch of shards can make or break your account, even more so than what you actually pull during that pull shard session. Hi, hello, my name is Fail. I do a lot of Raid Shadow Legends content for both this free-to-play account that I'm on right now, as well as a main account that I've had for years and years. She's a fixer-upper, so we create content for her too, but today's video is going to be with the free-to-play account because this is for newer players. This is for anyone that's just getting started in Raid. You have a lot of questions, you've got a lot of challenges, and hey, not all the answers are always out there. You kind of just have to figure it out for yourself in some situations. This one, I'm going to be talking about what you should do right after a big shard pulling session. Now, if you don't already know, we generally like to pull our shards at specific time windows, like when there's a summon rush, champion chase event, when there's a summoning boost, yada yada. If you didn't already know that, congratulations, stop pulling your shards randomly. You'll thank me later for doing that. In this video, we're going to talk about what to do right after that. But first, if you are just dabbling in Raid Shadow Legend content, you're thinking about starting an account, or if you've been playing and you're thinking about starting an alternative account, an alt account, I've got the perfect start for you to hit the ground running. Hold up, now's the time to click my link in the description below so that you can get yourself a free Karato, as well as 3 other insane epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Play and Play on PC and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get a free Karato right after signing up, as well as Anax, Uugo, and Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. Click on my link right now and let's crush this together. For me, I just finished up somewhat a couple days ago a summon rush, which means that I pulled a bunch of shards. I've got a lot of random freaking champions in my account that I don't always know what to do with, and I'm going to show you what I do and what my process is afterwards. This can also apply to after big champion chase event, which we also have coming up here in the weekend. But I want to note here is you don't have to watch this video only for this upcoming champion chase event. Everything that's going to be shared in this video is actually going to be applicable for anytime you do a big shard pull session and what you're supposed to do afterwards. And again, this is for the newer players. So, and if you have any tips for anyone that I may or may not mention, please feel free to comment it, because I'm sure it's very helpful for newer players to get as much tips and tricks and helps as they can get. Okay, so let's talk about this. I did a shard pull video. You can go and watch that if you want. I had to pull some of all of my one sacred shard, primal shards, void shards, and I even pulled some ancient shards. Now there's going to be a champion chase tournament coming up here over this next weekend, and I need to clear out my storage. I need to figure out where to put all of these guys, all of these different champions, so that 1, I can have enough room to pull more shards when the champion chase starts, and 2, so that I can actually know which champions I'm going to be keeping, which ones I need to level up, which ones I need to get masteries for, which ones are just vault masters, and which ones are going to be used as food. I'm gonna walk you through what I do in my process. You don't have to do this is just how I do it. So I have all of these blues, all of these rares, but I also have some epics and things that we need to organize as well. First and foremost is I'll go through and I'll tag champions. Now this is actually a step that I don't think a lot of other raid players generally utilize a whole lot. Tagging is right here. You can tag based off of what you're going to use a champion for. Now usually, I think typically the way that tags were meant to be used was for us to be able to build them, like for instance, if we have an arena build or a secondary arena build. I don't ever use that for actually arena. I use it for different reasons that I like self-label within my head. So I don't actually use these labels based off of what they're generally labeled as, like a support build, speed build, etc. You can totally use your tags that way. I do not. I don't think I ever really have, ever. The only time I really use a favorite, obviously, is when there's a champion that is just about fully built, ready to go, someone who I want to be able to utilize. So if I'm trying to, like, use them in different areas of the game, I know that they're ready to go and can be used and are built out fairly well, or as well as they can be in the current state of where I'm at in the game. Other than that though, I have different reasons for different tags that I use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out for you what different tags I use for what reasons, and you can decide for yourself if you want to use those same tags for yourself or if you want to use different ones. Totally okay. Just take what I give you, what I do, and obviously make it for yourself. So first and foremost, what I'll do is I'll go through any of the champions that I recently pulled and find this little icon right here, this light blue icon right here. It means that they're a fusible champion, a champion that can be used to fuse another champion. I always go through and I lock these champions, and then I add this tag right here. It's meant for arena builds too, but it's just what I use. Don't ask me why I chose it. I don't know it. I never used that tag for anything else, so this is what we're at. So I'll go through and find all of the champions that are fusible, add that tag, and lock them so that I don't accidentally feed them when I'm, in the tavern trying to build out other champions and so on and so forth. And then that way I can also, whenever I'm trying to build out a champion that's fusible in the summoning portal, so I can actually fuse 3 of these 4 epic champions that are needed for Razin. So I can go ahead and go through. And what's great about these tags is that when I'm doing champion training events, or when I'm in the tavern trying to build out champions, or when I'm doing campaign, I can easily use a filter, go to the tags, and find my arena build 2, and find all of those different champions that are fusible, so that I know, okay, I need to level up these champions either in campaign or when I'm in the tavern, I can build them out. So that's the first step. I'll go through, find all the fusible champions, and I will lock them and add the special little tag symbol. Next, just to clean this up a little bit, make it easier, I'll usually go into my champion vaults, go to the reserve vault, and this is where I put all of my fusible champions. The reason why I already go ahead and just put them away into the vault is because when I'm doing campaign, I can easily search for them using the tag and obviously adding to include the reserve vault in the filter, and then that way I can see which champions need to be built out or leveled up in campaign so that I can level them up. Now we've got these all moved away, we're good. Next thing that I do, I go to my faction guardians and I go through each of these sections and see if there's any different areas that I can add dupes to my faction guardian so that I can increase obviously all the different stats for all the different guardians. The reason why I do this very quickly is right after a summon rush is because I don't want to accidentally feed a champion that I actually want to end up keeping and using for the faction guardians. Unless I'm really in need of champions that need to be fed, then, you know, maybe I'll go ahead and do it, but otherwise, yeah. Thankfully on this account, I've already spent a lot of time filling out all of my rares for almost all of my different factions, so most of the time I'll just have to go in and look for epics. Rarely do I have enough dupes for freaking Legos yet, but that's okay. This is still a newer account. She's young. We're all right with there. All right, so you can see on this one, this is a good example too. So a lot of these champions I've actually saved because she's fusible. So I'm actually not going to use her in the faction guardians. I hope she's not fusible and my brain's just going numb. Okay, so we're filling in some of these. I'm not going to add these because I'm using them for fusing another champion. And I'll go through and I'll just finish all of these up real quick. Dang, freaking Shadowkin's struggling. We need more Shadowkin champions. Okay, here's some more from what we recently pulled / have and haven't used. There we go. Nice. Finished up the orcs. That's good. Okay, now that I've gone through and added all of my dupes to my guardian ring, I'm going to go back into my champion vaults, and I'm going to go ahead and put any of these guys that I just used for the guardian pit or the guardian ring. I'm going to add them to my reserve vault. This is also where I put them. I don't put them in the master vault because more than likely I'm not going to build these guys out. They're just going to be staying in the vault just so that they can be used for the guardian pit. If it is someone you're going to build, I recommend putting it in the master vault. So for me, for the most part, they're going to the reserve. The way that you can tell if they're in the guardian pit is this little symbol right here, this little yellow banner symbol. Kind of looks like that, or it is that. So I'll go through and I'll find any champions that has that icon on them. He needs to be put in there too, and I will add them to the reserve vaults. Beautiful. Okay, those were the quicker, easier parts. The next step is the research phase. So now what I need to do is I need to go through and decide if I want to keep these champions, save them just in case I want to build them, or use them for food. So the way that I do that is I'll go through and decide if I'm going to keep them. A really quick preliminary way to decide if you don't already know that champion and you don't know what they do, if they're good or not, is the reviews within the game. I do want to note those, these aren't very accurate a lot of the time. Usually I'll do this just to get a basic idea of if I want to keep them or not, like if I'm in a quick hurry, but usually what I like to do is go through, pick which champions I want to keep, which ones I don't, and if I don't know, like if it's a champion that I've never had before, I don't know how good they are, or if I don't know if they maybe have a niche area that I might want to keep them for in the future, this is when research comes in. And what I usually do first and foremost is I go and look up their scores on Hell Hades website, which is a really great, phenomenal way to just get an even better, kind of like the reviews in game, but way more top tier, can tell you how good that champion is. I do want to note though is that it's not always it's not always 100% with Hell Hades website, and am I in no way saying that they don't know what they're doing, because they absolutely do. What I'm actually trying to say is that usually those scores on Hell Hades website will actually tell you if this champion is generally good in general areas. But what I also like to do is go and search up these champions' names in YouTube, or sometimes Reddit if I'm feeling, you know, a little bit risky. I'll go search these up in YouTube to try and see if anyone has found a niche way to use them. So let's say one of these different champions are really fantastic in a specific area, a specific stage of the game. Someone figured that out and they created a video about it, bless them, and now I can know, okay, I want to keep these guys. So after I do a bunch of research, if I decide I'm going to keep a champion, what I do is if I'm going to keep them and maybe want to build them out later on, I add this little attack build tag. Again, I didn't choose it for any particular reason, I just wasn't using that tag and it's just become that tag for me. So I'll add a tag, you can pick whichever one you want. That means I'm going to keep that champion and they could potentially be built out for something. I also recently pulled a Snick Track. A Snick Track, he looks freaking bad A, by the way, freaking like him. So I've already started leveling him up, as you can see, but normally what I would have done is I would have added this little icon here to say that, hey, I want to build him up, but because he's someone I want to build now, I'm actually going to add this build 3 tag. Again, I didn't choose this specific tag name for any specific reason. This is just how I categorize it in my brain. Use whatever tag you want. This means that this is a champion I want to continuously build as I'm working on this account. And the reason why I try to add tags to those specific champions, those are champions that I want to currently be building up, leveling up in campaign, doing masteries for in Minnow, adding gear to and leveling up their gear, etc., building out their skills and giving them books. The reason why I add this tag is because then during specific events that come up, I can then go in, use this tag filter for these build 3 champions, and I know which champions are ready to be built up. So let's say, for example, a gear enhancement event comes up. I know that this champion and all these champions here need to have their gear leveled up or geared in general. So when a gear enhancement event comes up, I can come in and build them out and get points for that gear enhancement event. Next example would be for CVC. So during a CVC, it's a great time to use your books, or during a champion training tournament, I can go in and I can add books to these champions if I've learned through my research that there's somebody that I actually want to book out. Then I can go through, do this tag in the tavern, and then that way I know which champions I actually want to be upgrading skills for, which ones I want to be continuously building, which ones are a high priority for me that I really want to build out. She's not really a high priority for books, but I already know that in my head, but just to get an idea of an example for that. So there's many different areas of the game, different events. There's the artifact, the gear enhancement events, there's CVCs, there's champion training, etc. So whenever those specific events come up, I know which champions I want to be focusing in on and working on during that specific event that's going on. Now you know the general idea. If I give a champion the let's say the sword icon, it means that, yeah, I want to build them, but they're not a huge priority, and I just maybe want to keep them in case they're good for the future. I don't know if that works for Central here on my account. I just used him as an example. And then what I do is with all of these different champions that have the sword icon, the sword tag, I go ahead and put them in the Master Vault if there's any freaking room, because I'm constantly running out of room there. And that way I know that these are all champions that I kind of want to keep, kind of want to use for later. Let's use a duplicate example. So let's say we have duplicates, which he is the perfect example for. I have 2 of Central here. Let's say I wanted to keep Central to build out later on. What I'll do is I'll obviously lock him, add him with the this tag with the little sword, the attack tag. Then for the dupe, I won't add another attack build tag because I don't want to build out 2 of these guys. I actually want to use one of them for the other skills. And if I'm not already using these guys for the Guardian Ring, which he's not, he doesn't have the Guardian Ring tag on him, for these duplicate champions of the champion that I want to build out, I add a defense build. Again, use whatever tag you want. You don't have to follow mine, it's fine, but this is what I do. The reason why I do that is because then I know, okay, I'm keeping this champion and I'm going to feed them into this other champion when a CVC or a champion training tournament is going on so that I can gain points for them. And then I will add them to their appropriate vaults. Obviously, this guy would go to my master vault, and this guy would actually go to the reserve vault. The reason why he goes to the reserve vault, because he's being used basically as a skill tome, right, to build out the skills of the other champion, is because I'm not going to be adding any artifacts to him. When you add a champion to the reserve vault, you have to strip all of their artifacts from them, so I just add them to the reserve vault. And then that way, when I go into the tavern, when a certain event is going on, I know that I can use that champion in order to add to his skills. There we go. Like, why isn't it showing up? I can use this champion. Obviously, I'd have to unlock it, but I lock it for a reason so I don't actually feed him, and then that way I can build him out. And finally, as I'm going through all of these different champions and trying to decide if I'm going to keep them or not, like for instance Bellower, I will be keeping. I'll probably be building him out soon. Some of these champions you will already know, okay, great, this is a great champion to keep. You do your research for the others, decide if you're going to keep them or not. For the ones that you're not going to and you want to use as food, what I do is I go through and I will add a plus sign or support tag, plus sign tag to them, and then that way I know that when I'm going through the tavern, when I'm upgrading champions, building them out using food champions, I know that all of these champions that I have the tag feature to all can be fed. They can all be fed and added to any other champions to build up another champion to make them great and overall freaking awesome. So that's what I'll do. Go through each one, decide if I'm going to keep them or not, maybe research if I already have that champion and if I plan on keeping that champion, if it can be used for as a skill tome, then I'll add the shield. If I'm going to feed them, I'll add the little plus sign, etc., so on. And then I will organize them into the different vaults and or keep them in my main storage area depending on what they're used for, so that I have everything clean and organized and I can utilize them for specific events as those events come up. A couple of keynotes that I want to add here at the end is a little tips. You never know when there's a champion that has bad reviews, that doesn't look good on paper per se, right? The reviews are generally bad. You never know if that champion is actually absolutely crushing it in a specific area. That's why if I'm questioning a champion and not entirely sure if I want to keep them or not, I'll go and literally search up their name in YouTube. And I can't tell you how many times I found this random YouTuber, this small creator, this person, this awesome human being who has found a really fantastic way where this champion's build is so perfect for a niche specific stage. That doesn't mean you have to build them out right now, right away, on the spot. You may not need them right now. Let's say it's for a Doom Tower rotation that's not in rotation right now. You want to keep them so that you can later use them. Or let's say, for instance, you're still going through the first area of Faction Wars. You never know if this champion might actually be specifically really good at another stage in hard Faction Wars. So you might want to keep them for that too. There's so many different reasons to keep a champion. Let's be honest, sometimes we come up with more reasons than necessary to keep champions that maybe shouldn't be kept. I am definitely guilty of that. My main account has so many freaking champions in the vault. I need to do a full vault cleanup. Ooh, there you go. That would actually be a fun video. Wouldn't be fun for me, but maybe other people would like to watch that and go through and see what champions I've kept since the dawn of time, since I created that account, and never use, and definitely would not use at the current state of my account. I need to clean that out. Whole other video, whole other topic. Sorry for the tangent. This is how I manage all of my champions. And that way I can clear out and clean up my actual main storage, and I don't have to constantly be upgrading the expand the collection, because as you know, that can get really expensive the more further and further you get, and as newer players we don't always have that luxury of throwing in gems or throwing in silver in order to do that. So I like to utilize my vaults as much as possible, specifically the reserve vault, especially because there's so many different ways and reasons to keep champions, whether that's for your faction guardians, or if that's for a fusion champion that you're going to use, or even champions that you're going to keep to use as skill tomes used to build out skills for those other dupe champions. There's a lot of reasons to keep champions, and this is where I put them, is the reserve vault. It's just a great place to keep everything that you don't want to touch yet, but you're going to need later. Master vault is generally used for the champions that I want to build, am going to build, and or have kind of built but not currently using like frequently in all the different areas, so I don't want to keep them in my main storage. Hopefully that's a helpful general overview of how I organize all of these different champions, and this is great to do after each big summoning session. So we have a champion chase coming up, and we're always going to have champion chases and summon rushes when you have a big shard pull session, but it is very important to do this, especially because you never know if you're keeping champions that you actually don't need and they're just taking up space. You could have used them to build out another champion to make them even better, even greater. It would have saved you a ton of resources in the tavern. The XP brews and the chickens and all of the such could have saved you a ton of resources, one, and two, you never know if there is a champion that you do want to keep that actually could be really niche, specific, awesome, that you may want to build in the future. Okay, there's the video for you. Hopefully you found it helpful. This was a very like specific task, and I don't know that I see a lot of content around it, so I'm questioning whether or not it was actually helpful. I'm hoping so. When I first started the game, I remember thinking of, there's got to be a system for this. I feel like my storage is constantly full. I don't know what to do with these champions. How do I know if I should keep them or not? All that train of thought thing stuff. So I don't know. Thought I'd do a video on this. Hopefully it's helpful for you. Please comment, let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything else that you'd like me to create content on. I would love to do so. We're taking this thing seriously and we're doing content as much as possible. I appreciate your time today. Wish you luck on all of your future summon pulls. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing freaking rest of your day. Keep killing it, and I'll see ya.